Welcome to my channel. Okay, I need to stop this. Hello and welcome to my channel, Inner Journey with Meditation. Today I am going to talk about past lives and reincarnation, and karma, and how it ties into karma, and or rather I am going to explain why actually you don't. I'm going to explain how what am I going to talk about today? Today I'm going to talk about time, your inner being and time, or rather your higher self and time. And I'm going to explain this using a prop that I made earlier. Look, this is a piece of paper. Look at that. It's just a piece of paper with lots of lines in it. So will I come to that later? Right. So in one of my earlier videos, I talked about how you're here to interact with others and to experience life and express emotions and express feelings and everything else. The thing is, a lot of that comes from, and sometimes to make discoveries. Huh? A lot of that comes from your higher self. Actually, if you want to know what your higher self is, I think I've done a video about that. I've done a video trying to explain that. But it's really your higher self is it part? Your higher self is actually the big G's of your wider consciousness. I say the big G's because your higher self is the one that makes the decisions for you to come and experience this life. So my higher self decided, you gotta come here in 1970 and you gotta do A, B, C, D. My higher self says she didn't tell me to do it. I said I was going to do it. So you request to come and experience life in this time. Your higher self is a consciousness, a vast energy of consciousness, and experiencing life in the physical plane. Experiencing life in the physical plane is one of the things that your higher self wants to achieve, and it would achieve, and it wants to achieve. Why does it want to achieve this? It wants to achieve this to expand. So one of the crucial, critical, primary aim of consciousness is to expand, and therefore they experience a range, they go through a range of experience in order to achieve that expansion, that growth, that evolution, if you like. So I've just touched upon other subject that I didn't really mean to go into. It's just, I want to explain a little bit as to your life here in this time and space. And I'm now using the term time and space because really outside of the physical plane there is no time. We understand time, and time is when one thing happens after another. So you're born and therefore you'll die. You can't just die without being born. So one thing happens after another. You're a baby and then you become a grown adult. I'm trying to say that your higher self wants to experience life in the physical plane at different times. And it's also about experiencing life from a differing vantage point. So because there is no time in the outside the physical plane, the physical world, because there is no such thing as time outside the physical world, your higher self actually experiences all your lives simultaneously. So I've drawn this. This is to show that this is just a simplified. Look, it's a piece of paper that I've drawn, but I'm trying to say that if I does it work if I do this? Makes a difference. I have to do this, yeah. So imagine, see, look, you're linked. There's a central link there, which is basically saying the central link is the same consciousness, the same higher self is coming from the same type of, the same wider consciousness that's having the same experience. These vertical sheets of papers that I've cut, imagine that this is you experiencing one life. So this is one life. This is another life that your higher self is a different aspect of your higher self experiencing that life. Look, this one is this two in the middle. You can't really see, can you? Some are short, some are long, and I've sort of tried to color some of them dark green and dark blue, just to show that you also experience life as other races. So the same higher self will have one aspect of their life, one aspect of life in the physical plane as a man in, say, 1420. The same consciousness will be a woman in, say, Jesus's lifetime. The same consciousness will, another aspect of it will be perhaps in ancient Rome. The same consciousness will experience life, as a woman, as an Asian, as an African, as a European, as will experience life, a very short life, a very long life. This is the same consciousness. And in a way, that's why we have inner beings. Because I said, if you look at one of my, the drawing I had, if you look at the drawing I had showing the relation, showing you, your inner being and your higher self, the inner being is sort of the go-between, because if you can imagine that, I don't know how many have I got here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got about 7 vertical lines, so sort of showing 7 different lives that a particular consciousness will be wanting to experience and express. But you can imagine that this line could be about 200 to 300, sometimes even up to 1,000 vertical lines, or life, 1,000 different lives. So one higher self living or experiencing 1,000 different aspects of lives in the physical plane. Now that might seem like a lot, but if you think about how long the earth or the physical plane has been in existence, you might start to think, oh, maybe 1,000 is not so much. We're talking, I think I mentioned this before, ancient Rome, ancient Egypt, ancient Africa, which there is not much record of that. It's not much record. past civilizations like the Aztec, what else? Jesus's time, because the time that we think of now is AD. This is 2020 AD. You know, it's 2,000 years after the death of Christ. So before there was Jesus's lifetime, and then there was before Jesus's lifetime. You know, however long the earth has been in existence, consciousness has been in existence, and consciousness has been experiencing life, you know, since the beginning of what we would call time in this physical plane. Now, why did I decide to do this video? It was just something that I was quite interested in. Well, what does it mean when we say time doesn't exist, or time happens simultaneously? And this image with this helped me a lot, so I thought I'll share it with you. So now, the reason I'm saying it therefore doesn't make sense with this image in mind, it therefore does not make sense to have karma, because technically speaking, your higher self is experiencing all the lives at the same time. And so the Aztec is happening now in the present time as we are experiencing this life, and the future version, a future aspect is also experiencing their life. All of that is been managed and looked after by my higher self, for me anyway, as it is for most people, you know, people, higher self. So now, let's come back to this. So if this is the thing, if this is all happening simultaneously, there is no way then that you can have karma. Because you're experiencing, if the higher self is experiencing life simultaneously in different times, I was going to say time zones, but no, just in different times, you can't really have karma. It doesn't really make sense to say you're trying to fix something from a past life, because for that to happen, you would have to have finished one life and then start another one. Can you see? You would have to have finished one and then start the other, and that's not really how the higher self outside of the physical world works. Your higher self sees everything simultaneously and works with everything simultaneously. So when you're thinking, oh, there's just something in my past life that I've got to, sort out and that I've got to deal with, that's why I'm experiencing this in the here and now, I'm being punished, or, I did something good in my past life, or I did something bad in my past life, that's why I'm experiencing. No. But you can access those other aspects. See, I folded this now. I don't know why I've done that. You can actually access these other lives. Why? You're connected to your higher self. Like I said, you're connected to your higher self via your inner being. This also means that you have access to those lives, or at least to be able to view those lives. So when someone hypnotizes you and I've never done this, so I don't actually know who I'm talking. I don't know what it's like, but people talk about, I went to a past life and I was, what you're doing, those memories are being given to you via your higher self. No, wrong. Those memories are being given to you from your higher self via your inner being. That's how you can see it, view it, if you like. So to me, there's a couple of things that comes to mind here, or rather, a couple of things. So therefore, I'm saying that it doesn't make sense to blame your current situation on a past life. I'm saying that you're experiencing your current situation because of an agreement that you have with your higher self. And it's to experience this life, whichever way you're experiencing it, good or bad. But you can also change it. I think you can change it for the better. I think you can absolutely change it for the better, but you have to connect with your inner being. You can say, I did come here to be in this situation. Can you do that? But you have to connect first to them. And I keep saying connect first to them. I think what I'm trying to say is you have to learn to communicate with your inner being and your higher self. And then you could say, I know we made this agreement for me to come and do this, but I don't like it. I don't flipping like it. So let's make a change here. Let's start changing some I was gonna swear again, I really have to. Let's start making some changes. And that's why I've done this video. It's to say that you can make changes to your life, to what you want it to be, and an easier, I'm saying an easier way, because to me there's an awful lot of things you have to do to get the life you want. Different people are sort of, is it preaching the right word? Is it, I don't know. Like, it's either work very hard to get the life you want, or don't work very hard to get the life you want. Or, I don't know, different people are saying different things. So I want to wrap this up now, because I could just go on. I just want to say, for this particular segment, when you think about time, and when you think about how time exists only in the physical plane, and also time is simultaneous. There is no instances of time exists only in the physical plane. Outside the physical plane, all the lives that your higher self has decided they want to experience are being experienced. So for you, if you don't like the life that you're experiencing now, the easiest way is to, I would say, get in touch, learn to communicate with your inner being, and then make it better. Learn to do that. So yeah, please connect with your inner being. It seemed to me to be the easiest way and the most definite way to change the life, to change your life to the one you want to watch. Thank you for watching this video. Bye bye.